Lottery dreams. The most popular middle-class financial plan is also the least likely to work. Every week, millions of people hand over money for lottery tickets, scratch cards, office pools, and jackpot drawings. The logic seems harmless. It's only a few dollars. Maybe this is the lucky week. Maybe one ticket changes everything. And that's exactly why it's such a powerful trap. The lottery sells something far more valuable than a ticket. It sells an escape route. It allows people to imagine a future where they don't need to worry about mortgages, car payments, retirement accounts, or rising costs. For a few dollars, they get permission to dream. The problem is that dreams can become a substitute for plans. Researchers have repeatedly found that people dramatically overestimate tiny probabilities when a huge reward is attached. A jackpot worth hundreds of millions feels attainable, even when the odds are so small that they're practically meaningless. Meanwhile, the real path to wealth is usually boring. Consistent investing, avoiding debt, living below your means. The exact things that don't make headlines. What's fascinating is that the lottery doesn't just take money from people who can't afford it. Plenty of middle-class households spend years chasing jackpots while ignoring opportunities that had far better odds of improving their finances. The trap isn't believing you'll win. The trap is spending years waiting for a miracle instead of building a system. And if the lottery is the dream of instant wealth, the next trap is something much more dangerous because it actually looks like success. Car payment prison. For most of history, a car was a tool. Today, it's often a monthly subscription disguised as ownership. A middle-class family gets a raise, feels financially secure, and decides it's finally time to upgrade. The old car still works, but the dealership offers something newer, safer, and far more exciting. The monthly payment only adds a few $100s. It feels manageable. That's where the prison begins. The auto industry has mastered the art of making expensive vehicles feel affordable. Instead of focusing on total price, buyers focus on monthly payments. Stretch the loan long enough, and almost any car starts looking reasonable. The result is millions of people driving vehicles they technically own but never really possess. They're making payments for 5, 6, sometimes 7 years. By the time one loan ends, another begins. Meanwhile, cars are almost guaranteed to lose value. Imagine buying an asset that becomes worth less every year while demanding insurance, maintenance, repairs, fuel, registration fees, and interest payments. Most people would run away from that deal. Yet, when the asset has 4 wheels and a luxury badge, it suddenly feels normal. The surprising part is that many wealthy people avoid this trap entirely. They understand that transportation and status are two different purchases. A car should help you get somewhere. Too often, it becomes the thing preventing you from getting ahead. And while car payments quietly drain thousands of dollars each year, the next trap can consume hundreds of thousands. McMansion fever. Nothing says you've made it quite like a bigger house. At least that's the story many middle-class families are told. A promotion arrives. Income rises. The family outgrows nothing, but suddenly they start browsing larger homes, more bedrooms, more bathrooms, bigger kitchens, higher ceilings, a 3-car garage for 2 cars. It feels like progress, but houses have a strange way of turning wants into necessities. A larger home rarely comes with only a larger mortgage. Property taxes rise, utility bills increase, maintenance costs multiply, furniture purchases expand to fill empty rooms. Every additional square foot quietly demands money. The most dangerous part is that people often buy homes based on today's income, while assuming tomorrow will cooperate. Most of the time, it does, until it doesn't. A job loss, economic slowdown, health problem, or unexpected expense can transform a dream home into a financial burden almost overnight. What's fascinating is that many families spend years chasing a bigger house because they believe it will create happiness. Then they discover something unexpected. After a short adjustment period, the excitement fades. The giant kitchen becomes normal. The extra room becomes storage. The luxury becomes routine. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Humans quickly adapt to improvements and start wanting more, which leads directly into perhaps the most common middle-class trap of all. Because once a bigger house becomes normal, something else begins to expand. Lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep doesn't arrive like a disaster. It arrives like a reward. You get a raise, then a slightly nicer apartment. A few years later, better restaurants, premium subscriptions, business class flights, more expensive vacations. None of these decisions seem dramatic by themselves. That's what makes them so dangerous. Imagine two people who receive the exact same salary increase. One invests most of it. The other upgrades their lifestyle to match their new income. Both feel richer. Only one is actually becoming wealthier. The challenge is that human beings are incredibly good at adapting. Yesterday's luxury becomes today's expectation. What once felt extravagant starts feeling normal. Eventually, maintaining your lifestyle requires every dollar you earn. That's when raises stop creating freedom and start creating obligations. Many middle-class households earn far more than their parents ever did, yet still feel financially stressed. It's not necessarily because they're irresponsible. It's because expenses have expanded alongside income. The result is a strange paradox. The more money arrives, the more money seems to disappear. People assume wealth comes from earning more. But wealth is often created by preserving the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Lifestyle creep closes that gap little by little until it disappears entirely. And when that happens, there's usually one tool waiting to bridge the difference. A small piece of plastic that makes every purchase feel painless. Plastic money. Credit cards may be one of the most brilliant inventions ever created. They're also one of the most dangerous. Before plastic money, spending required friction. You handed over cash and physically watched it disappear. Today, a quick tap is all it takes. No pain, no hesitation, no immediate consequence. Behavioral researchers have found that people often spend more when using cards than cash. The payment becomes abstract. The brain focuses on the reward while postponing the discomfort, and that's exactly how debt quietly grows. It rarely starts with a financial emergency. More often, it begins with convenience. A vacation here, furniture there, holiday gifts, a few restaurant meals. Then one month the balance isn't paid in full. Interest appears. The next month gets harder. Soon people aren't buying things with money they have. They're buying things with money their future selves are supposed to earn. The tragedy is that credit cards can actually be useful tools. Used responsibly, they offer convenience and rewards. Used carelessly, they become wealth-destroying machines. Interest doesn't care whether the purchase was necessary, emotional, or impulsive. It simply compounds. And while debt creates one financial trap, another trap exists that doesn't require borrowing at all. In fact, people often spend their own money willingly, all because they want other people to notice. Status spending. Some purchases solve problems, others send messages. Status spending happens when the message becomes more important than the product. The luxury watch isn't just telling time. The designer bag isn't just carrying belongings. The luxury car isn't just providing transportation. They're broadcasting success. Humans are social creatures. For thousands of years, status helped determine influence, opportunity, and survival. The instinct never disappeared. It simply found modern outlets. Today, social media has amplified the problem dramatically. People aren't comparing themselves to neighbors anymore. They're comparing themselves to thousands of carefully curated highlight reels. Suddenly, normal feels inadequate. A perfectly functional car feels embarrassing. A comfortable home feels average. An affordable vacation feels disappointing. The comparison never ends because there's always someone richer. What's remarkable is how little lasting satisfaction status purchases often create. The attention fades. The novelty disappears. The financial cost remains. Many people spend years trying to look wealthy while sacrificing the habits that actually create wealth. And nowhere is this contradiction more visible than the next trap. Because unlike luxury purchases, this one is often encouraged by society itself: college debt. For generations, the message was simple: go to college, get a degree, build a better life. For many people, that advice worked. But somewhere along the way, a dangerous assumption developed: that any degree at any price was automatically worth it. Students barely old enough to rent a car signed documents committing themselves to debt that could take decades to repay. Many had no idea what their future income would be. Some graduated into strong careers. Others discovered that the job market had changed. The degree remained valuable. The debt remained unavoidable. The challenge isn't education itself. Education can be one of the best investments a person ever makes. The trap is ignoring the relationship between cost and return. People carefully compare prices when buying televisions, phones, or cars. Yet some commit to six-figure educational expenses without calculating potential outcomes. The result is that many graduates begin adulthood already behind. Before buying a home, before building investments, before starting families, they're making payments on decisions they made years earlier. And while college debt can delay wealth building, the final trap reveals what happens when decades of small mistakes finally catch up. Retirement panic. Retirement panic rarely begins at age 65. It begins decades earlier. Every skipped contribution, every unnecessary payment, every lifestyle upgrade, every delayed investment. At first, the consequences are invisible. Retirement feels distant. Future problems belong to future versions of ourselves. Then one day, the future arrives. People open retirement accounts and realize the balance is far smaller than expected. The math becomes impossible to ignore. Years that could have benefited from compound growth are gone forever. Suddenly, retirement changes from an exciting goal into a source of anxiety. The cruel irony is that retirement panic is usually not caused by one catastrophic decision. It's caused by hundreds of small decisions that seemed harmless at the time. A bigger payment here, a little debt there, a delayed contribution somewhere else. Individually, they feel insignificant. Together, they can reshape an entire financial future. And that's what makes every trap in this video so powerful. Not because any single one guarantees failure, but because they quietly work together. Middle-class money traps rarely look like mistakes when they begin. They look like rewards, opportunities, upgrades, conveniences, and milestones. That's why they're so effective. Most people don't lose financial freedom through one dramatic disaster. They lose it through 1,000 small decisions that slowly move them away from wealth and toward obligation. Every trap we've covered follows the same pattern. It feels good in the moment and expensive in the long run. The lottery promises a shortcut. Car payments disguise consumption as progress. Bigger homes create bigger obligations. Lifestyle creep turns raises into expenses. Credit cards borrow from the future. Status spending prioritizes appearances over wealth. College debt can delay financial freedom for years. And retirement panic is often the bill that finally comes due. The good news is that every one of these traps is avoidable. Because once you can see them, you can start making decisions that move you in the opposite direction. And for most people, building wealth isn't about finding one brilliant opportunity. It's about avoiding the mistakes that quietly destroy it. So here's my question for you. Which trap has cost you the most money so far in life? Let me know in the comments below.